Yes, sir.
हाँ सर, गुड मॉर्निंग। हाँ, कल से बेटर है। हम्म, हाँ सर, आज बनाते हैं यार, सेकंड हाफ में बैठते हैं। हम्म,
press it will get like this. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now you can hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you can see the slide too?
Slide 1 second. Yes, yes. I think we can start. So we can start. I think we are missing the voice.
Can you see the slide?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Now we can see you, we can hear you, we can also see your presentation. Perfectly right.
Wonderful.
So
Finally.
everything is on. Now my colleague will introduce you to audience.
Okay. All
Then
right.
we can. Sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Once you are ready, tell me, sir.
Yes.
My colleague is introducing you to the audience, and then we'll say that you can start. Yes, sir. All set, sir.
Okay.
Good morning to all. A warm welcome to all of you. In today's session, day 2, session 1, which 18th International Conference of Indian Society of Ergonomics on Humanizing Work and Work Environment, with the theme Technology Enabled Ergonomic Design. I, Professor M.S. Balasubramani, am the host of virtual 18th International Conference. In today's session, we have 3 keynote addresses, in which the first one, Whiplash with low velocity impacts, delivered by Dr. Shravan Kumar, Canada. Second one, Ergonomics Consultancy in India, Pros and Cons, by Dr. D. Majumdar. Third one, Assessment of Modified Control Feedback System in order to improve sitting pattern in children with cerebral palsy, Dr. Ali Uzaini, Iran. Now we start with the first keynote address. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Shravan Kumar by reading his short profile. Dr. Shravan Kumar served as a tenured full professor in osteopathic manipulative medicine at University of North Texas Health Science Center at Fort Worth, Texas, USA, from September 2007 to August 2011. At this university, he served as the director of Physical Medicine Institute and the graduate advisor for Physical Medicine graduate program. He joined the Faculty of Rehabilitation Medicine in 1977 and rose to the ranks of associate and full professor in 1979 and 1982 respectively. Dr. Kumar holds BSc Zoology, Botany and Chemistry, MSc Zoology degrees from the University of Allahabad, India, and a PhD Human Biology degree from the University of Surrey, UK. Following his PhD, he did his postdoctoral work at Trinity College, Dublin in engineering, and worked as a CSIR pool officer in orthopedic surgery at All India Institute of Medical Science, Assistant Director of Central Labor Institute, Public Service Commission, Senior Class 1 Officer, Research Associate at the University of Toronto in Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation. For his lifetime work, Dr. Kumar was recognized by the University of Surrey, UK, with the award of a peer-reviewed DSc degree in 1994. He is an honorary fellow of the Association of Canadian Ergonomics. a fellow of the Human Factor and Ergonomics Society of USA, and past fellow of the Ergonomics Society of UK. Dr. Kumar was awarded the Sir Frederick Bartlett Medal for Excellence in Ergonomics Research by the Ergonomics Society of UK in 1997. In 2002, he received the highest professional honor from International Ergonomics Association by the named one of the few IEA fellows. The Ergonomics Society UK invited him to deliver the annual society lecture in 2003. The Royal Society of Canada elected him a fellow in 2004. The Governor General of Canada awarded Officer of Order of Canada to Dr. Kumar in 2009-2010. Dr. Kumar was honored by King George Medical College, Lucknow, in India in February 2010 and invited to give a guest lecture to faculty and students. Dr. Kumar has over 522 scientific peer-reviewed publications and worked in the area of musculoskeletal injury caution prevention with special emphasis on low back pain and whiplash. Currently, serves as a patron of the Society for Development in the Third World countries. Now, I request Sir to deliver his keynote address. Over to Sir Dr. Sarvan Kumar.
Thank you very much, Professor Balasubramaniam. Good morning to you and good morning to everybody else in the audience. However, at my end, it is not a morning, it is past 11 o'clock, 20 after 11 in the night, and I'm not a night person. So I hope I don't fade away. And if I do, then Professor Rana and Professor Najamuddin may take over from me. But all the kidding aside, let's start with the presentation. As you see there on the first slide, that the title of my topic is Whiplash and Low Velocity Impacts. Though I have done a lot more work in the spinal mechanics and lifting and all kinds of issues with respect to manual material handling and spinal injuries, back injuries, and their prevention and rest of it. But I decided to present this topic to you because of the fact that India has witnessed a rapid urbanization, industrialization, and motorization in the last 2 decades. And a quick check about the number of vehicles in India, I found that in 1951, for example, there were only 0.3 million vehicles in all of India. And the latest figure, which is available for 2017, there were 253 million vehicles. So a growth of 2,530 times of the number of vehicles on the road. Now, it is important to bear in mind that this growth in number of vehicles will also result in increase in the road accidents. And one of the most consequential injuries to human people, other than non-fatal injuries, are the whiplash injuries. And these injuries are very common in the Western countries. And there is a with that idea, I thought that I should look into what is happening in India, and my best efforts could not lead me to any reliable source and a credible source where I could find the whiplash injury statistics. I did find that what the physiotherapists are doing to treat this kind of injury, and but no numbers are provided. However, Tony et al. In 2016 reported in the British Medical Journal of Public Health that the that even after 5 years from accident, whiplash casualty had a poorer quality of life in physical domain. So this is a significant problem because of the fact that this does not only causes the suffering of the people who have this kind of injury, but it also affects the medical cost as well as the loss in productivity. Therefore, I thought that a study in this area in India can be something which can be taken up, and original studies can be done. Also, I should point out that India has developed indigenous auto industries and has acquired high-profile foreign car companies. Therefore, this topic is quite relevant in the current context and can be a fertile field of investigation for Indian scientists should they choose to do some research in this area. So let me slide will not change.
Sir,
Yeah.
yeah. Could you press F5? F5 now.
Okay.
F5 on the same system.
All right.
And then see next.
No, it's not moving.
You could click to next slide then. That you see first slide is selected in red square. Select the next slide. That also will change the slide.
That's what I'm doing, but it is not doing. It's not changing. How do I change the slide?
The cursor is there on this slide, sir. Your cursor is here. You just move your finger on the pad of the laptop. If the cursor is here.
Yeah, cursor is here.
So bring the cursor to the bottom, and there is a glass sign which starts the presentation. Cursor is coming there. Just press it, sir. Left bottom. There are three buttons. One of them is.
I know. I am doing it. It is not highlighted for some reason, and it is a gray scale. So oh God, this has been a
Sir, you have two presentation?
No, I've got one. I was just trying to see if anything can work. Nothing seemed to be working. Uh, F5 is not working either.
उसमें पहले मीटिंग बंद कर।
Sir, actually your two presentations are open, sir. So which one is there in meeting shared? The other presentation is also there, sir.
I can see only one presentation here.
सर वो चेक कीजिए सर पीसी के अंदर में और एक जो पीछे वाले में है क्या आपके?
PC तो क्लोज कर दिया हमने. PC is not open.
हाँ सर स्लाइड नहीं F5 हुआ था क्या? Sir, bring your mouse to screen on PPT.
Yes.
It is not visible, sir, here. It means your mouse is
Okay, this it's frozen. I don't know why. It is not even moving.
sir, your mouse we cannot see on this presentation. Otherwise, we would have seen your mouse moving.
I understand. I'm moving and the screen is frozen and it's not.
If you could close the presentation and restart, sir. Share
Okay.
once again.
Okay, even that is not possible. It's not showing me, giving me the. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now I close this. Okay, I'm going to close this.
क्लोज हो गया।
Yes, sir, it is closed. Sorry, audience, there was a technical glitch, and Dr. Sarwan Kumar is with us once again, and I request her to continue with the presentation. Dr. Sarwan Kumar, sir.
Hello, sir. Sir has to unmute. Sarwan Kumar sir has to unmute himself. We are not able to hear him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In
And
this
he's
meeting,
speaking,
Sarwan
it
Kumar, sir.
seems.
Sarwan Kumar, sir. Your audio is muted in this meeting. Just unmute yourself, your microphone. In the bottom,
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Okay. Can you see the slide as well?
yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes,
We can see the
yes, sir.
slide.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Please now continue, sir.
All right. Oh God, it has been some trial. All right. There is a significant controversy with respect to the whiplash claims because they are very abundant and there is really no clear-cut scientific diagnostic technique, and the medical imaging cannot demonstrate the soft tissue injuries which occur as a result of whiplash. And furthermore, it is an expensive injury. In Germany, it is reported that Germany had paid $10 billion in a single year, and the United States $22 billion as a compensation for these injuries. And in addition to that, of course, there is a significant number of days lost. And I won't go into the phony and controversial cases because there's not enough time. We have lost a lot of time. And the mechanism, there is no mechanism of causation of whiplash injury which is universally accepted. The first mention of whiplash occurred in 1919 when it was dubbed as a railway spine, simply because at that time there were not that many vehicles on the road and people traveling by rail. And when the trains stopped suddenly, it caused a considerable motion of the head neck, and it caused a whiplash, and they called it a railway spine. But one of the early work which was done was by Savary et al. In 1955, and they tested with articulated test dummies as well as human subjects, and what they found that there was with the whiplash there was a significant cervical motion in flexion and extension. So they said that this whiplash injury occurs as a result of hyperextension and hyperflexion, which means the neck moving far back and coming forward, far forward, and that is the kind of movement which is causing this kind of injury. Furthermore, in their study, they reported that some subjects they could endure up to 44 kilometers per hour impact without suffering injuries. But overall, they stated that vehicles of comparable masses, when they collided between the speeds of 13 to 15 kilometers per hour, generally that did not produce injuries. However, the injuries kept on being reported, but also other workers, Mertz and Patrick in 1967 and 1971, also agreed with this kind of thought, and they reported that up to 16 kilometers per hour impact does not cause any injury. And when a person is aware of the oncoming impact and is stabilized in their seat, they can withstand up to roughly about 30 kilometers per hour impacts without suffering injury, which obviously later on it has been disputed by many authors, although the West et al. Thought, I'm not going to talk much of the details of their studies, simply to say that West et al. Said that up to 8 kilometers per hour people will be safe, and similarly Szabo et al. Said that the even unaware subjects, when subjected to 8 kilometers per hour and lower velocities, they will be safe and they will not suffer injuries. However, McConnell et al., they conducted a couple of studies. They reported 2 studies in which they had done extensive kinematic recording as well as the force and electromyographic recording, and they talked about the threshold of transient discomfort and injury which occurs is 8 kilometers per hour. So since then it got established as the 8 kilometers per hour as a threshold for injury. However, later on, some other workers like Brault and Siegmund et al., they reported that injuries occurred even at 4 kilometers per hour. Now, there still remained the controversy about the mechanisms as to how does the injury occur. And the initial theory, as I talked about, was hyperextension and hyperflexion, which caused injury. And that was established by Severy et al. And Thompson et al. And also some animal studies were conducted by McNam et al., in which they had monkeys and they tied the monkeys to a seat and subjected to a significant rear end impact, and they found that there was significant hyperextension and hyperflexion. And so they also talked about that this is the mechanism of injury. But they also stated that this injury occurs simply because the head moves beyond the physiological range of movement, so that it goes beyond what is physiological, and that's why injury occurs. But the scientific studies showed that these injuries were being reported well within the physiological range of motion of the head and neck, and therefore this theory of hyperextension and hyperflexion was discarded. So then the race was on to determine as to what could be the mechanism. Some Swedish scientists, Svensson and their colleagues, they did an interesting study in which they took a number of pigs and tied them to, of course, they anesthetized them and tied them to a seat with the seat belt and other things, and also inserted a cannula in their brain, not entirely in their brain, but in the cerebrospinal fluid of the brain, outside the brain, and piercing the durometer and pyometer into the cerebrospinal fluid, and subjected them to varying acceleration. And what they found is that with this increased level of acceleration, there was increased intracranial pressure. And they followed this finding with the sequential sacrifice of these pigs and looking at their brain histology, and they found that there was a neuronal degeneration in these brains. And so they said that the cause of whiplash injury was neuronal degeneration. Then the other scientists from the Milwaukee in the United States, Yogananthan et al., they took the specimens, cadaveric specimens, head neck specimens, and subjected them to significant rear end impact. And then after that, they took these specimens and dissected them and looked at the facet joint, and with increasing level of acceleration, they found that the facet joints were injured. So they said that facet joint is the cause of the injury to facet joint, is cause of the whiplash injury. Now, then a couple of other groups of scientists, Kanyoka et al. From Japan and Punjabi et al. From Yale University, they also conducted studies on the cadaveric spine with a lower velocity acceleration, and what they found that the neck undergoes an elongated S-shaped curvature in this whiplash impact, in which the superior vertebrae undergo translation with respect to the head, whereas the inferior vertebrae undergo rotation with compression. And this rotation compression of the inferior vertebrae, that causes the whiplash injury. Now, the issue was that all these studies, they had demonstrated that the injury does occur at different levels and different mechanisms. So essentially, Kumar et al. Suggested in 1999 and 2002 a hierarchical model of injury causation, and that was, this slide is not clear, but essentially they said that there is a safe zone of acceleration within which there will be nothing, and when it reaches a threshold of acceleration, that's when the cervical muscles will be injured, and with increasing acceleration, the injuries will become more severe until it reaches a threshold for the ligamentous injury, and the ligamentous injury will keep on getting more severe with increasing level of acceleration until the facet joints, the threshold level reaches a level when it is going to damage the facet joints, and the facet joint injuries will increase with increasing acceleration until eventually there is a brain damage and neuronal degeneration that will cause the whiplash. So there are all these mechanisms work in concert, and so then the unresolved question remains: how does the injury occur in low velocity collision, and what is the threshold mechanical stimulus to cause such injury? With respect to threshold, there's a lot of controversy. I will not get into it. I will simply address this issue: how does the injury occur in the low velocity collision? My position was that the low velocity does not cause increased intracranial pressure or with the neuronal degeneration. It does not cause the jamming and the damage of the facet joints. It does not cause hyperextension and hyperflexion. Then obviously, how does the injury occur? And it also is noted that if you were to in cadaveric specimen, if you were to take all the muscles, cervical muscles out, then the osteoligamentous preparation can hold the weight of up to 20 to 25% of the head weight before it buckles down. So essentially, in order to maintain the head in its proper position, the cervical muscles are operating and they are working to hold them in that position, and they try to restrain this head in its position when the whiplash impact is delivered to the subject. So the issue became that the muscles control the posture, and yet they had been excluded from this discussion. So I proceeded to look at the possibility of the muscle contribution, because I thought that the muscles are first in line of defense, hence they are likely to be first casualty. And in order to test this hypothesis, test this thinking, I had two hypotheses. One, that in low velocity impacts, cervical muscles are at risk of injuries. And the second hypothesis, I'm not going to address today because it's a much greater detail and it will take lot more time, that the cervical muscle responses will be dependent on the direction of the impact. So directional dependency is a significant issue. So in order to do this, we recruited 20 subjects, healthy, normal subjects, and prepared them such that we could measure the head acceleration, torso acceleration, and the acceleration of the seat on which they were seated after whiplash impact, while measuring the cervical muscle activity from the three major cervical muscles which are supposed to hold the head in their proper position. In the anterior position, the sternocleidomastoids, and in the posterior position, I'll show you other muscles. So here you can see a triaxial accelerometer is mounted to the head, and in this picture, the other triaxial accelerometer, which is mounted on the acromion process of the shoulder, is not shown, but later on you will see. And for the posterior muscles, here you can see this the other shoulder triaxial accelerometer, and the upper trapezius muscles, which are at the back of the muscle, back of the neck, and the splenius capitis, which are between the sternocleidomastoid and the trapezius muscle. So all those three pairs of muscles where their EMG was recorded using active knife edge electrodes with a fixed inter-electrode distance, and these electrodes were active, which performed amplification of the signals right at the site of the collection of the data by a factor of 10 before transmitting it by the leads to the amplifiers for further amplification. Now, such prepared subjects, the accelerometers of the shoulder, the head, and the seat, all three were aligned such that their XYZ axes were fully aligned. The Z axis was the sagittal plane, was measuring the sagittal plane motion, that is to say, hyperextension or extension and flexion, and the Y axis was measuring the side-to-side motion, and X axis was measuring up and down axis. Now, in order to get a good idea of quantitative comparison, we had to do a calibration of the muscle EMG, which we did by asking the subjects or recording their maximal voluntary contraction in sagittal and coronal plane with the and the experimentation was done with a sled with the stabilized subjects at 4 different velocities of impacts. So roughly speaking, 0.75, 1.5, 3, and 6 kilometer per hour impacts. And the accelerations were of 2 level, one expected and the other unexpected. So in expected one, the subjects were told that they are going to be impacted with an acceleration, and they were told at the count of 3 they will receive acceleration, and we called 1, 2, and 3, and bang, and they were accelerated, and all the data was recorded. For the unexpected measurement, what we did, that we blindfolded these subjects, and they provided an iPod with catchy music playing at loud enough to block all the noise of the lab, so that they don't have any visual or auditory input. And we kept on measuring their cervical muscles activity on the screen. And when we saw that it is a base level activity and they are totally resting, and that's when then we suddenly bang, we gave them acceleration. So that's how we conducted the experiment. The isometric measurement of the strength was done through a device which I designed to measure the strength in cervical, in sagittal and coronal plane, or in any plane it can be measured. But in this experiment, we did measure only in sagittal and coronal plane, where you can see that there is a baseboard, and then there is a mounting plate on which this chair is mounted, and the subject was stabilized at a hip and distal thigh and proximal tibia and the ankle level, so that the lower extremity was completely stabilized. And they were brought close to this horizontal arm of the testing device, which was upholstered so that they won't feel hardness when they press against it. And this was connected to a rod here, which could be raised up or lowered by means of this adjusting wheel, such that we can bring it at a proper position for every subject. And then there's a load in this arm. This load was counterweighted by applying the load here. So therefore, there was zero mass of this arm with respect to effort which it will take to move. And this is where the person exerted, and in its path there is a load cell which will measure the force applied. And that's how we measured the force, at the same time measuring the EMG, and the maximal voluntary contraction of EMG was taken to be 100%, against which the EMG of the other conditions were normalized. Okay, so this is how we tested the coronal plane strength, and then we delivered them a rear end impact, and the rear end for delivering this impact, I had designed this device, which is the baseboard, which was 2.5 meter long and 1.25 meter wide. And then we had mounted on it a 2 meter long track, which two tracks, and their coupling, which will move, which can slide on these tracks with a reduced friction, and the friction was 0.03, which is close to the coefficient friction was 0.03, which is close to the coefficient friction of ice. And this stabilized subject was then subjected impacts by this hydraulic cylinder. This hydraulic cylinder has a piston of 30 centimeters, and the hydraulic cylinder was controlled by a solenoid, as well as the pressure was generated by a air compressor, which was further away, and the magnitude of air pressure was calibrated to provide the impact corresponding to 0.75 and 1.53 and 6 kilometer per hour impact, and the subject was then accelerated. And as the subject was going, there is a high density rubber stopper here to prevent the subject being sliding off the track. Okay, here is the setup here. this piston is the hydraulic cylinder is here, and piston is aligned to the this baseboard, and then you will see that when the subject it is fired, then it delivered the impact, and the subject moved forward with the intended velocity which was given to them. Now, of course, we measured in 8 different directions, but I will be talking only about this direction. So the data analysis was done such that the velocity and acceleration of the sled was measured, and its a time to onset, time to peak acceleration was recorded for the sled, as well as the torso of the subject and head of the subject in both expected and unexpected conditions. And the statistical analysis was carried out using SPSS, and descriptive statistics was calculated, and correlation between the EMG and head acceleration and it's a relationship with the time to EMG onset, time to peak EMG, and time to and EMG slope, and peak EMG and average EMG, and force equivalents were conducted. Now, let me show you this sample result. Here is a plot which is showing the acceleration in unexpected condition and expected condition. Now you see that this is the sagittal plane motion acceleration. You can see here, this is sagittal plane, and this is the medial plane, and this is the vertical up and down. So you can see that with increasing velocity of impact is 0.75, 1.53, and 6 kilometer per hour, unexpected and expected. So you can see that the unexpected always had a higher level of motion. And then we go to the EMG, and the EMG is a little complicated to decipher here, but suffice it to say that the higher EMG which you are seeing, that is that of a sternocleidomastoid. And this is unexpected condition, expected condition, and this is 0.75, 1.53, and 6 kilometer per hour. Let me just say a little bit about EMG processing. The EMG, when it came to amplify, it was amplified, as well as it was full wave rectified and envelope detected, and is smoothed using 7-point smoothing routine repeated once in order to get to a reliable and reproducible trace from which all the variables were extracted. Now, here you can see that it is about the sled, showing the time to onset from firing of the piston. And as you can see that the time to onset, it doesn't show a great deal of difference, but it keeps on decreasing in these things. If you can remember, these are sternocleidomastoids, these are splenius, and these are the trapezius, and then there is sled, and next is the shoulder, and then is the head. It is repeated for unexpected, and then expected, unexpected, expected for 0.75, 1.5, 3 kilometers, and 6 kilometers. And as you can see, that whereas the sternocleidomastoid was always quick to begin activity, the splenius and the trapezius were always late as well as variable, which means that the backward motion was of the head and neck was resisted by sternocleidomastoid. Let me show you the EMG activity and the slope of the muscle EMG, which means that how quickly it rose, which means that faster it rose, it means that faster it got activated. And you can see that the sternocleidomastoid kept on getting faster and faster in terms of, its slope became steeper and steeper as you increase the velocity of impact. The time to peak, again, you can see that the sternocleidomastoid in unexpected condition was always low throughout, and the time to peak for other muscles were, in low velocity, it didn't matter. It came at its own leisure, and with increasing velocity, it became time to peak became less, but still it was much higher than the sternocleidomastoid. Okay, normalized peak activity, which means the maximal effort which was caused by these muscles. You can see that sternocleidomastoid, which is the front neck muscle, was always much more active. And in unexpected condition, you can see that the sternocleidomastoid was actually 179% of the maximum voluntary contraction of the isometric calibration, which we had pre-recorded, which means that this is about to get injured even at 6 km/h. Fortunately, nobody got injured in my study. Okay, so what are the conclusions? The conclusions are that with rear end impact, the sternocleidomastoid muscles activated more than trapezii and spleniae. Trapezii at the back and spleniae in the middle. And sternocleidomastoid reached 179% of the maximum voluntary contraction at 6 km/h, whereas the trapezius and splenius did not exceed 35% of their maximum voluntary contraction. So the sternocleidomastoid is likely to be injured before any other injury can occur in rear end impact. Conclusions continued. The awareness of the impending impact significantly reduced the muscle response to 95% of the maximum voluntary contraction. So it did not reach the 100%, and the acceleration only up to 40% at 6 km/h. So you can see that awareness of knowing that you are going to be impacted has a significant effect on this. And the lack of awareness had inverse effect. Cervical muscles are first in line of defense, hence likely the first casualty. And hierarchical model of the whiplash injury explains the vulnerability of different structures, as shown. When I prepared this slide, it was white, but I don't know why it has become black. So the way I showed you before, that's exactly what we found, that the muscles are likely to be injured first before the ligamentous injury occurs. Now, the I didn't. I can go to here. And thank you for your attention. But before I conclude, I will say one thing, that this does not answer every question. It shows that the muscles will be injured first. However, if you look at the whiplash injuries, normally what happens, that the injuries occur at the back of the neck as opposed to the front of the neck. So what does that mean? That means that the impact has occurred at a much higher level, in which the muscles, though they may have been injured, they heal, but they also, these kinds of high level impacts, they cause ligamentous injury. And if you were to look at the strength of these structures, the ultimate tensile strength of the muscles are anywhere between 16 to 19 gram per millimeter square, whereas that of even the elastic membrane is 160 to 320 grams per millimeter, which is depending on the site where you pick it. So essentially the ligaments are much stronger, and essentially what happens that when the muscles are, when the rapid impacts are given, rear end impact, then the viscoelastic response of these cervical ligaments is such that it exceeds the tolerance limit and it goes beyond the yield point, and therefore injuring the ligaments, which are made of collagenous tissues, and collagen repair takes months to happen due to slow metabolism of collagen, and that can only occur with collagen remodeling, which will lay down new collagen in those ligaments. But in some cases it will take months. In some cases it becomes so chronic that it does not get better, and that's why the controversy occurs. And the reason why it doesn't get better at all, simply because if people are protecting their neck too much and not even moving and keeping it stationary, then the collagen fibers, they require certain mechanical stimulus to lay down the collagen fibers in the directions in which they are wanted. If you keep your head and neck totally stationary, then the collagen repair will not be able to take place, and therefore this condition becomes entirely chronic. And that's why there is so much controversy and so much problem. So suggesting to you that because I have not seen any study coming out from India, you people can start, if you are interested in the field, you can start a study which will be a fertile field for you to work in. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, I can answer.
Thank you very much, sir. Audience,
Okay.
if you have any questions, could you please put it in chat box. Sir will give you answer. I thank Dr. Sarwan Kumar for presenting a scientific information on whiplash with the low velocity impacts. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank
now
you.
I invite our second keynote speaker, Dr. D. Majumdar. Before that, I read out his short profile.
Let me just
Dr.
let me just say that Dr. Majumdar, hi, and I am sorry that I won't be able to listen to your talk because it's already past midnight here and I'm fading out. It is not because of any disrespect. I wish you success in your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It's after a long time I am just seeing your face. Glad to see you.
I've not been able to see yours in any case, so thank you very much for your compliment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay,
so
bye.
now I read Dr. Turjadi Majumdar's short profile. Dr. Turjadi Majumdar has obtained PhD in physiology from University of Calcutta. His PhD thesis was on ergonomics, occupational health, and safety studies in jute industries in India. He worked as a research associate in the industrial management and Engineering Program, IIT Kanpur, during 1985 to 86. He served as Assistant Director, Central Labour Institute, Mumbai CLI, Ministry of Labour Government of India, from 1986 to 1988. He joined Defence Institute of Physiology and Allied Sciences, DRDO, Ministry of Defence, Government of India, Delhi, in 1988 as Scientist B, and has been promoted up to the level of Scientist G, Director grade. At DIPAS, from 1988 to 2015, he has conducted researches on sustainability, survivability, mobility, and improvement of human performance and acclimatization at Antarctica, high altitude, desert and jungle environments, and design and development of various defense, hardware, and software. He conducted several studies on the design of various military hardware, design ergonomics laboratory, and by using human modeling and simulation facility in VR environment. He has received a number of awards from DRDO and outside organizations. Currently, he is Vice President of ISE. Now, I request Dr. D. Majumdar to present his topic, his keynote addresses on ergonomics consultancy in India, pros and cons. Over to Sir.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You are visible.
Okay, fine. You can. I am audible too also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Oh. Good morning, everybody. And we are late by about 45 minutes. Though Professor Rana has requested me to join by 9:30. Anyhow, it is a technical problem. And at the very beginning, I express my deep sense of gratitude to Professor Rana and the whole HWWE 2020 team, Indian Society of Ergonomics, and Thim College of Engineering, by Sir, for inviting me to share my knowledge and experience in this very special area. This lecture is not to propagate my own company or anything, but it's a new and a very challenging and exciting area. So where I am practicing as a professional for the last 2 years. 1 year is gone last year because of the COVID, but how and in what way this can help to each and every professionals in this area of our human factors of ergonomics that I would like to share. After my retirement in 2016, I was getting a lot of jobs in Delhi, northern India, maybe in whole India. I served in a private university for some time, and then there were lots of requests from different industries. And I found myself in a catch-20 situation, what to do. Whether should I take it up? Because I found many of the people are working in these areas, especially some of my friends in abroad, and they were very happy. They encouraged me also that why not to start something in ergonomics, especially the industrial consultancy. And I found that I started getting a lot of requests from the industries in and around India that they want real ergonomics consultancy. Real means that they want that ergonomics doesn't mean only the musculoskeletal disorder or so and so, what people is conveying whosoever visiting there. And there is a special group of people who have taken life certificates from life membership from Indian Society of Ergonomics, and they start claiming themselves in the internet and website that they are the really true and they are the highly qualified ergonomists as certified by Indian Society of Ergonomics. Though during my time we had a lot of discussion, but we couldn't do anything because anything and anybody can claim outside. So I started this consultancy on ergonomics in the name of Arhuzol.in in late 2018, beginning of 2019. And in 2019, I got a very good response. The main area was that why is that the thing is, am I audible? Can you see the screen?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Both the things are visible.
Yes.
Yes,
the
sir.
very
You please
important thing is the job. Yes, the jobs of ergonomists those who are qualified ergonomists in India is limited. Because in the sense, because I am very much aware and actively engaged with ergonomics, human factors, sports and exercise physiology research in India as on today. And staying in Delhi, I have gotten overall networking everywhere. And I found the number of people are coming out in terms of that, the numbers are highly limited. Whereas the industrial demands for human factors and ergonomic study is increasing because of many reasons. Maybe industries have opened up, industry they want to do something for their workers, or there are qualified people, especially from abroad or from the different IITs and NITs, they're joining in the industries with an ergonomics background. And very interestingly, the qualified safety officers these days, they also want that ergonomics should be there at least once in 10 years in their premises to know where is the problem. They know what is ergonomics, but they have got a very vague and opaque concept about ergonomics. So they want to know how, in what way this can help and make their life more comfortable and increase the production. So what is an ergonomic consultant? The job and duties of an ergonomic consultant can include conducting inspections of workspaces, processes, and tools. If not everything, possibly these three encompasses everything, to identify the ergonomic risks and suggest the possible improvements. They recommend and conclude then in what way their performance can be increased, and very importantly, the risk factors can be reduced. In industry, you know, almost every day there is a safety visit by industrial safety divisions. There is a safety audit by outside organization and internal organizations. Even though if you go and visit in any industry with a background knowledge of ergonomics, you will find there are hundreds and one issues which is overlooked by the concerned people, I should say. Then why ergonomic consultant career? This is a very open career system, career prospect in India these days. And many of the young people, those who are already in the job, especially, and they are doing this thing, I knew them very well. We have got an interaction, and they are trying to spread this thing. They found that this is also very exciting, challenging, and rewarding. According to a recent survey, the level of job satisfaction among human factors and ergonomic professionals was found to be higher than among those working in other professional and technical fields. This is not my statement, although I agree to this statement, where this is the statement available in the international literature and internet and Google and everywhere, and especially it is the statement by US people that it is really highly exciting, it is a challenging and rewarding. So that's why I want to share, especially the young people and those who are in this profession, that how, in what way, and what you should do before that, what you should keep it in your mind before doing this thing. It looks very easy, but you should remember this is very challenging and rewarding, possibly if you can deliver the goods. Why I choose ergonomic? Why you choose an ergonomic consultancy as a career? Number one is, it is the simple thing. Ergonomics says that you can make one's life comfortable, you can make the workspace more comfortable, and you can increase the production, productivity, whatnot. And you can use, you can increase the healthcare facilities and everything in an industry. What happens, you know, when we tell this thing to everybody, we forget that how much we can actually produce. That I will come down at the end of my lecture, that why I'm telling you this thing, that because when we claim that we can do ergonomics, and we always claim that we can solve their each and every problem, but whatever may be, you can do one. That if you have got an idea, if you want to do something to make one's life more comfortable and healthy, you choose a career in consultancy, where you can fully use your knowledge and experience. There is nobody is going to stop you. You can, if you have studied ergonomics, if you love you can do this thing with your full force. It is highly applied and result oriented. If you, yes, you can do the suggestions, and if the suggestion is accepted, mostly the industry is accepting your suggestion, you will find this is a very, very rewarding situation and highly applied. You cannot just say anything and everything and go away from the industry. You have to deliver something. And if you really can deliver in an applied manner, in a cost-benefit way, you will definitely be appreciated. It is an economic advantage. It is a good payment. It is highly rewarding, and I have mentioned you can. The industry is ready to pay you in a hefty amount, even for a 5 and 7 day study, even for 10-day study. But possibly you have to deliver the thing. Then it is a personal satisfaction. Yes, what I have studied in ergonomics, what I have learned in ergonomics, what I have experienced in ergonomics, my idea, I can use it myself, and there is nobody can stop me, nobody can interfere in my way of working. Very importantly, employability. You can, if your company is growing and your company is spreading, you can employ other people. So it is a personal satisfaction part also. Service. So you can generate employability and other things. Then very importantly, spreading the subject knowledge. Industry knows ergonomics, but as I mentioned at the earlier, there is a little bit of vague idea about what ergonomics. So you can spread the knowledge of ergonomics. You can disseminate the knowledge of ergonomics. And it has got a direct implications. What you do it will be immediately accepted, definitely by them, because that's why the industry has spent money because behind you. Then every day in the industry, there is a new learning experience. It is something like what you have learned in career, especially in your teaching experience, or in a government job or in a private job. But particularly when you go to the industry, you will really see that what ergonomics is, you can do. What you have learned in the book, it is not the same ergonomics, but you can see it in real-time industrial situation. I am telling you mostly on the real-time industrial situation because I worked mostly for the last year in this field actively. Then real-time interaction on your side. You can interact with the people, especially even in a small, even as a small worker, even it is a ground level worker can give you a lot of information about how to solve the problem, what he is facing with the situation, and what are the problems. So you have to be very, very careful about that how you are approaching the situation. But the real-time interaction is really very, very interesting, and you very, very helpful if you really, and very enjoyable if you really know how to do this thing. Very interestingly, ultimately overall, it is very innovative. You can develop your strategy of doing consultancy. You can have a very good idea about the different technologies, the technique, the knowledge, and which one you should do it in which kind of a situation. Maybe there are two different machines simultaneously working, doing the same operations, but while you really see how the two workers are working there, or the placement of the two machines are so different, or the timing is too different, it is totally a different ergonomic approach you have to apply there, which we hardly find in the situation in our daily activities, in our normal jobs. And most importantly, you have no boss. You are your own boss. Nobody, as I told you at the very beginning, nobody can interfere you. You can decide many of the things. In fact, everything if you have. Now the next thing is what you have to do it at the beginning of doing these activities of, if you want to start a consultancy, you have to have a name of your organization, and subsequently you have to go for web designing. Then you have to go to the internet, develop a team. I have got a team members, we are physiotherapists, we are engineers, we have got psychologists, but depending on, and you have to be an unison with them so that if required, they can be helpful from any remote locations. Define the problem and possible solutions. That means what is your area of interest and how far you will be able to solve their issues if it really comes when you go to the particular industry. It looks very simple, but those who are experienced in ergonomics and those who have worked in real ergonomics areas, we know how difficult it is to real life solving the issues. At least in my areas, I have found in defense ergonomics, it is extremely difficult to use and to give the suggestions and the recommendation, because it is really not easy. Because if it backfires, you are totally gone. So you have to define the problem and possible solutions and highlight your capability. You have to say that what you can do. It need not be everything will be accepted by the people, because the industry people, they know what you are, who you are, and they can, nowadays it is very easy to go to the Google and search what you are and how far you can do it. And you should have the right experience, you cannot touch upon everything and start and telling that, yes, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. But even if you have got a team of experts, but you should have the overall experience and knowledge about the different areas which you are highlighting. You should be aware of the approaches to injury prevention and human performance. These two are the most important issues when you go for the industrial consultancy. It is injury prevention is a latter term. Before that, it's a lot of incidents and a lot of things are there which you should be capable of solving, so that you should have an idea. Then very interestingly is the knowledge of the clients and the case studies. If you know it, you should have a knowledge about, if you get a consultancy from a firm in a pharmaceutical or textile or heavy industries or a pesticide or oil refineries, you should know a little bit about the idea about the clients, what kind of operation is taking place there. And you should have a knowledge about how the case studies, because several hundreds, thousands of case studies are available in the internet. And you can have an idea before going there that how you can approach and how you can solve into it. You must look into the cost reduction process. You cannot, that we know it at the very beginning, that you cannot suggest anything and everything and you expect that everything will be accepted. It is not. It should be a cost reduction process, should be like that it is acceptable by them, and it should be economically viable, and it should be low cost, but a high-end solution that is always accepted. Make sure that is you are comfortable while doing this thing. As we say that if you do not, everybody says that if you are not comfortable with something, you leave it. You cannot leave it, but you should be comfortable before accepting the particular offer. And you should be committed to the industry. Many people I have seen, they just go there and they come back with an empty-handed. They say, we cannot solve these issues. But if you do this thing, you should not do this thing rather. If you do this thing, it spreads a bad name to the entire community of ergonomists everywhere. It is my personal experience. While I am going to different industries, I found they are giving me 10 years, 12 years, 15 years back histories and the reports, which are really lacking the grassroots, the base level of ergonomics problem. Nobody had touched upon. So you should be committed to the industry. You should have an idea of what you mean by industry and the factories and their setup. You should have a setup plan for evaluation, how you will evaluate the system. And because while you are going to the industry, you have to solve, they will take you the entire industry. Maybe it is a very, very big, maybe 3,000 people are working there. Maybe 300 to 500 different operations are going on there. And you have got a very limited period of time, 5 days, 10 days, because again, the problem comes why? Because it is the economy. They will not just allow you to be there hundreds of days with because you have to see your economy part also, your budget part also. So with a limited time, how you can evaluate the entire system? So it is a very, very committed and it is a very, very critical job. The very important idea is you have to be a professional not a hobbyist. As I told you earlier, you must be committed to the industry, a professional, and not be a hobbyist. Just I have started, because many of the internet, if you go to the internet, many of the people you will see that they are starting their ergonomics consultancy, and within 1 or 2 years, it is not there anymore in the internet. So you can effectively communicate. You should be a very good communicator, because you have to sell yourself there. You have to sell your subject there. You have to influence them that how, in what way the ergonomics can really make their life simple. And very importantly, that I am repeating this again, you have to be passionate about doing a consultancy studies. These are the things what I am telling. It is not all. It is my personal experience, because I am doing this thing. I am in this consultancy business for a long time. Taking permission, not taking permission, and maybe sometimes as casually, I have held many of the industries for the last 25 to 30 years. And when I have started my career in the Central Labour Institute, Bombay, for the 2 years, I have done enough consultancy in and around Bombay and in India, particularly in solving their ergonomics and environmental ergonomics issues mostly. What are the general? Now let's have a general concept from the internet. If you see, what are the pros? The pros, it says the pay is good. Consultants are highly compensated, they are highly paid. It is true. But how much payment you will charge from the industry, it depends on, again, that how much you can give it in return. And you are your own boss, which is a fairly prestigious, because when you go there, they will give you a lot of honor and prestige, because you are going there as an advisor or as a consultant. Consultants are really well looked after by the industry. Then choose your clients. You can choose. You cannot. I am doing it also. You can do it. Because while discussion, you will come to know. Because I give you a very important example right now. Very recently, I got an offer which may amount to several lakhs, beyond my imagination. Because I tell you, it is a development of the 9 metro stations, 9 to 10 metro stations, and their ergonomics. Frankly speaking, I am not in a position, so I refused it, because it's an enormous work what they demanded, based on the artificial intelligence, based on the computer control mechanism and whatnot. And what I felt that in the type of knowledge I have gained, it is mainly one or two-sided, not a multi-sided. So I find that it requires a lot many engineers, a lot many artificial engineers, cybernetics, light engineers, sound engineers, and whatnot. So I have politely refused, because by saying that no, I cannot. But in some of the industries, you really feel like to go there. Then work as much or as little as you want, and you can maintain a good consultancy. This is very important. Work as much or as little as you want. You are always in learning something new. I have discussed it always. Every industry, every factory visit will give you a new experience, and that you can use it subsequently. You get to build a powerful network around you, particularly industrial network, with the safety network, with an occupational health and safety people, with the healthcare people and whatnot. Consultant can advance rapidly with their career field. This is true. Freedom in designing and carrying out your own work that I have discussed. Then exit opportunities are pretty good. Once you finished your thing, you can exit out from that particular project, or even if you don't want to continue in the consultancy, you are free to leave it. Nobody is going to stopping you. Interesting and diverse cases, you will get it every day, because it's a multivariate operations are going on in everywhere. You get to manage life around work instead of managing work around life. This is a very, very important line. You get to manage life around work instead of managing work around own life, you should keep it in mind if you really are interested, to join in any one of the consultant you want to start own consultancy. Get involved in advising and helping high-level executives in industry. You will find suddenly they are really eager, as I am mentioning repeatedly, that how and in what way their problem can be solved. I give you a very specific example because I cannot share because of the non-disclosure agreement with the industry. Neither I am able to show you because of the several slides, because again the non-disclosure agreement and because you are recording it. But you know that last year I did a study and I was invited by a very specific multi-billionaire pharmaceutical company that to reach their site in a coastal area of India within 48 hours because they have got a problem, and that problem because they sell around 50% of their sales in the international market, and they have that international people, they have objected in one of the very small issues, but there is ultimately it is a bigger issues. I went there in 48 hours notice. They gave me everything. They did everything for me, and I there and I visiting and discussing with their whole day. I could actually solve issues because somebody told them that is a human factors issues. They even then they were not aware about what is ergonomics. They say somebody has told them it is a human factors issue, and they thought that all human factors people are actually psychologists. They thought it is a psychological issues related to human factors, and ultimately when I solved it, got a seat of their consultancy. Is the clients who do not pay. has become such that it is only musculoskeletal disorder or furniture ergonomics or manual material handling. It is not that these issues are not there in industry. Industries are there, but ergonomics is much more than only musculoskeletal disorder. So the number of papers, if you see in any ergonomics conference in India or anywhere, whoever is trying to do it, and many number of people are involved, they're all doing ultimately leading into musculoskeletal disorders and how I can do is furniture or ultimately as manual material handling operations. But as you have seen yesterday with a IEA president lecture, that ultimately a systems approach you have to do it for ergonomics consultancy, because everybody is not a good consultant, as I told you, and everybody do not start their consultancy until they have got confidence on themselves, because you have to deliver, which is not very stringent thing in your job or any other thing. So it is a systems approach with a consultancy of human factors and ergonomics vis-a-vis company satisfaction. And as I see every time, there is a physical issues like cognitive, organization, and psychosocial issues, and other anthropotechnological issues are also there. If we can take it a part of the psychosocial issues or the physical issues. So these are the things you have to deal with a very limited period of time, and keeping every issues behind your brain. And ultimately, you have to deal with it, and you have to deliver your problem-solving attitude to the pertinent issues in any of the industries. So ultimately, finding a solution of all in ergonomics, that should be your, and they also want it from you. So with this, I end up my lecture because time is short. We are running late. I hope finding a solution of all in ergonomics, that is the expectation, and you have to deliver this also. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Any questions, please, audience? You can put it in chat box, please. I thank Dr. D. Majumdar presenting informative and very motivational things on ergonomics consultants in India and pros and cons. Now I invite our third keynote address, Dr. Ali Hussaini from Iran. Before that, I read his short CV to you. Dr. Syed Ali Hussaini, Professor and Head of Department of Occupational Therapy, the University of Social Welfare and Rehabilitation Sciences, Tehran, Iran. He received his PhD, graduated from IIT Bombay, Mumbai, India in 2006. He was a former director of University of Social Welfare and Rehabilitation Sciences. He is president of Iranian Occupational Therapy Associations. He is an active member of Iranian Ergonomics Association. He has published more than 80 scientific articles at high-ranked international journals. Now I request Dr. Ali Hussaini to present his keynotes on assessment of modified controlled feedback system in order to improving sitting pattern in children with cerebral palsy. Over to Dr. Ali Hussaini. You can present your screen, sir. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to share my slides. So, please. Yes. I'm going to share the slides.
Not sharing.
Yeah. Good morning, Ali.
Good
Very good
morning,
morning to
sir.
you. Yeah, you
Thank
could
you.
start.
Yeah,
You
my
could start.
slides are visible.
Right now you are visible. Your audio is also there. And you could start
I'm
presentation.
going to share my slides.
So share your slides. Start your presentation. Start presentation.
Yeah, my slide is there.
No, not yet. Share presentation at the end of the bottom of the
Yeah.
present show.
Present now.
Present show, and there are 3 icons. You could say your entire screen.
Yeah. Present
Show.
present show is not there.
Present now. Present now. Present now at the
I'm
bottom. Yeah, there are 3 windows, 3 icons now.
Yes. Entire screen.
Yeah. Entire screen.
And then
Done? No, we still don't see your slides.
I'm going to show it, share it, but it is not running.
share it, yes. Total screen. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah.
It is there.
No, minimize and
The slides are visible.
Go to presentation. Start your presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, open
The
your
slides are
PPT.
visible. The slides
You
are
are
visible.
in the presentation mode. Just open the PPT. Just open the PPT. Minimize this window. Open the PPT.
It is there. The slides are visible.
Not yet. Have you opened the PPT?
Yes. PPT is open, boss.
You have shared the entirely.
Share has not done. Share has not
You are
yet
in
done.
presentation mode.
Minimize this, sir.
Minimize this screen.
Yes, but
Chrome. Minimize Chrome.
share is not yet done.
Hmm?
I think something is wrong. Turn.
Minimize it. No. PPT. Ask. Yes.
No, share is not yet done.
Minimize the Chrome. Minimize the Chrome.
Yeah.
Minimize the Chrome. Open the PPT.
Yeah.
And start the show. PPT show.
So the slides are visible.
Not yet.
So it means sharing is not happening.
But your screen is saying that Ali is presenting. You are presenting to everyone.
This is fine, sir. This is fine. You should go to the PowerPoint application. PPT application.
Huh? Minimize the Chrome and go to only
Yeah.
PPT. Minimize the Chrome, go to PPT.
But sharing is not yet done. How I can the sharing part?
Did you open PowerPoint earlier? Before sharing?
Okay.
This is correct. No need. पूरा स्क्रीन जा रहा ना आपका.
You do stop presenting. Do stop presenting on your Chrome. Open your PPT and then go back to.
No, PPT is ready. Okay.
Keep the PPT ready, open, and now go back to Chrome and do the sharing again.
Present now.
So means go to presenting now. Present now.
Yeah. Go to presenting now. You had opened the PPT.
Okay. A tab,
so
or window or your entire screen.
Window.
A window, yes. Should I go to a window?
No, entire screen. You have to share the entire screen, not the window.
Yes.
You please highlight the entire screen, and then there will be share button. Yes, now it is okay. Yes, now it is excellent. Very good.
The slides are visible? Are visible?
Yes, visible. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Please. Now only it's very fine. You could start. You are audible. Okay. Your presentation is visible. You are also visible. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, sorry for interrupt. Good morning, everyone. At first, I would like to express thank organizing committee, Dr. N.K. Rana, Professor Gigi Ray, Dr. Ganguly, Professor Iqbal, and other colleagues and friends. It is always my gratitude to be in contact with scientific program, professors, friends in India, as I spent a very good time at IIT Bombay during my PhD program. So today I am going to talk on assessment of a modified control feedback system in order to improve sitting pattern in children with cerebral palsy. So we have to know that with help of rehabilitation ergonomics, we can go through the modifying an instrument or device to help the position and support some problem of the some kind of physically disabled person. And those are persons who are affected physically and have problem or cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy occurs at approximately 2 to 2.5 per 1,000 live births. It is the most common childhood physical disability, and that's why we have to consider it for our rehabilitation ergonomics study. It describes a group of non-progressive disorders of the premature developing brain that adversely affect movement and posture, causing limitation in activities and participation. And children with cerebral palsy experience various impaired muscle functions such as reduced selective motor control, spasticity, and muscle weakness, especially in sitting posture. These impairments lead to scoliosis and difficulty in sitting for long time at a school. So you have to note this point that these type of children mostly are in pressure of the deviation of the spinal column, and the scoliosis might be common at this type of children. So spinal deformity is a common musculoskeletal problem for individuals with cerebral palsy. If the traditional definition of scoliosis means 10 of lateral curvature calculated by Cobb's method on a radiography is used, then scoliosis is common for individuals with cerebral palsy. And neuromuscular scoliosis means scoliosis related in some way to altered neurological or muscle function is found in 15 to 80% of people with cerebral palsy. So our statement of problem for the study was scoliosis may sometimes cause complication, including pain, sleep disorder, lung and heart damage because of the pressure of the tilting of the spinal column, and they may usually affect the lung and heart and the performance and the function of the lungs, especially. Activity limitation and pressure sores, other postural problems, even in hip or shoulder, dependency in activity of daily living, such as dressing, overload on caregivers, especially parents who are going to care the children, and family caregivers burden. So we have to know that for the solution of this type of problems, we must go and consider rehabilitation ergonomics. And what is rehabilitation ergonomics? We have two important parts as an ergonomics and healthcare. And the area of the intersection between ergonomics and healthcare can be called as a healthcare ergonomics. So what is healthcare ergonomics? In this part of the ergonomics, design of equipment or procedure, training and environment within setting where healthcare is administered. So when we are going to design a device or equipment for such kind of people, especially at this study, we focused on cerebral palsy child, and even going for the better procedure or making program for the guidelines of this type of person. So it means we are going to consider and work on healthcare ergonomics. So here we can see what is the role of rehabilitation ergonomics. And rehabilitation ergonomics can be a subset of healthcare ergonomics. So here we can go further and think about how rehabilitation programs such as intervention, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, as an interface along with equipment can provide us a person with disability to goes and reach the essential task, functions, or performance. So rehabilitation ergonomics in this interface and for the designing of the equipment as device can help us to provide a person with disability to make them essential tasks, to be able to be in the classroom without problem, to live and give them a better life and quality of life for them. In general, rehabilitation ergonomics focused on ergonomics for one. Sometimes we have to consider even one person, a person with a stroke or a child with cerebral palsy. So sometimes we have to know how to provide an instrument, a device, a tools to help a person with physical disability. So in that case, rehabilitation ergonomics and the idea got from the rehabilitation ergonomics can help us. And the next, ergonomics for special groups. So here we can cover much more person who are affected in a group of a person affected especially in physically problem, such as a group of cerebral palsy that we consider here in our study. So musculoskeletal ergonomics is a common part of ergonomics for the society. It is familiar with everyone who are related to ergonomics. And of course, all the design based on ergonomics should be user-centered design. And our study tried to make it properly. So as I mentioned, ergonomics for special groups means designing for particular categories of people with special needs, such as cerebral palsy, and research descriptives on the special groups and help us to make and provide them the better condition with help of rehabilitation ergonomics. Our objectives for a study were investigation of a modified control feedback system in order to improve sitting pattern in children with cerebral palsy. We tried to make a platform which is modified on a seat which a child is sitting on it to make an alarm for the child who is sitting and might be during the activity along with deviation in the posture, especially at the spine. And then evaluating application of a control feedback system in children with cerebral palsy was the next our objective. And for practical goals, we tried to find that investigate the use of correctional feedback system in the prevention of spinal deviation in the school environment in children with cerebral palsy. And it can be provided to this community as an aid that can be installed on chairs and wheelchairs. So we can put this system on a chair, on a wheelchair, and provide them to make correction the spine position and the posture while sitting, especially for long time on a chair in the class or somewhere else. Our methodology of the study, the first part of this study was knowledge enterprise based on designing and manufacturing a product. And the second part of the study, we examined the product via a cross-sectional study. Our study population were school-aged with cerebral palsy in Tehran. Our study sample were students with cerebral palsy aged 7 to 12 years old at levels 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of the GMFCS. GMFCS is Gross Motor Functional Classification System, which I'm going to introduce it later. Our sampling method was convenience. Those children who were our access in a school or in a hospital. It was non-randomized sampling from our study population. So we select some criteria to include and exclude the children who were our access. So to find the best sample for our study, we try to include the children with spastic cerebral palsy aged 7 to 12 years at mentioned level of GMFCS, means level of 1st to 4th. No history of orthopedic surgery in the spine, especially during the last year of the study, and the studying at a school, and no history of seizures, and cognitive above 70 based on the Sparkle cognitive scale to find the ability of the mental health, and the parents' consent to participate in the study. And we exclude some of them, those who had lack of cooperation of participation to conduct evaluation or continue research stages, and those who had serious orthopedic disorder in the upper limbs. And our screening test, as I mentioned, was Gross Motor Function Classification System, GMFCS. That is a standard screen system for measuring the severity of movement disability in children with cerebral palsy, and based on active movement with emphasis on sitting or trunk control and walking. GMFCS is a 5th level classification system. Those who get the level of 1st, it means the difficulty of the activity and physically problem is less, and those who get 5th level of GMFCS means they got severe problem of the physically activities. So, as I mentioned, we try to make a device as a control feedback system. The force plate used at the device was a Y-Fit balance board made by Nintendo. And load cell system was located at the 4 corners of the plate. That plate is located on a chair or wheelchair of children, which can be used to calculate the center of pressure of the person while sitting on it. So the balance board and the device installed on 4 corners of the plate, and it is calculated by the system. Our variables were gross motor function classification system, the level of the GMFCS to understand the severity of the problem, and our dependent variable was the number of alerts or signals which was performed during the activity and the study while the child is sitting on the chair. So the stages of the study were at first design and building of the control feedback system, and second, evaluation of efficacy and reliability of the system in 3 groups of school-aged, 7 to 12 years old, who met the inclusion criteria. So from the 3 groups, I have to say that the first group includes 10 healthy children without physically problem. We have 10 children at this group, and we designed a second group. Again, includes 10 children with cerebral palsy, those who are at the level of 1st and 2nd of GMCFs. It means they can be as a mild cerebral palsy. And our third group of the study includes 10 children with cerebral palsy at the level of 3rd and 4th of GMFCS, means they are at moderate to severe kind of problems. So this kind of people showed generally much more problem, especially in our study, deviation or tilting position in the spine. So as I mentioned, all 3 groups of children were asked to sit on a chair for 45 minutes in the classroom while studying in the class. And the study was done last year before coming coronavirus at the world. At this stage, the altering system, the system which could provide us the signal for the child who is sitting on a chair, was inactive. And data means the number of the deviation of the trunk recorded at this stage. The result shown that number of trunk deviation at our first group, means at the healthy group, was 0. It means there was no deviation of the trunk and the spine during that time for the healthy children. And for our second group, number of trunk deviation for the mild CP child, the average times was 9.6 times, and the number of trunk deviation for the third group means our severe CP child, 10 children with severe cerebral palsy. The average times of the deviation 24.3 times. So it means the children who are much more affected have shown much more trunk deviation. And the next part of the study, again, all three groups were asked to sit on a chair for 45 minutes in the classroom, as same as the last part of the study. And in that time, the altering system was active. So it means the alertness and signal was there to aware the child, and because of that, the child could correct the posture and the position while sitting on a chair. And the responses were as follows. So the number of trunk deviation for the first group again was 0 for the healthy child, and the number of trunk deviation at the second group reduced, average to 6 times from 9.56 times. And the most important point is that the number of trunk deviation for the third group, for our severe cerebral palsy child group, reduced to 8 to 4 times in that time. So it means the alertness of the device could help them to make a better position and correct the posture. And because of that, we can focus on it. That rehabilitation ergonomics can help us to provide better condition and position for a patient for physically disabled. Myself, as an occupational therapist who are involved in a clinic with this kind of children, I want to mention that here, only giving exercise, bringing the child for a long time to clinic, yeah, that is good, and that is important for the child. But I want to mention that with help of rehabilitation ergonomics, we can provide them the position and posture for a long time. In a clinic, we can provide them for 45 minutes, 1 hour, 1 to 3 times per week, but giving the device for a child for a long time every day in the classroom. There is no any therapeutic program. So this kind of study, this kind of thinking about the problem with help of rehabilitation ergonomics can help us as a therapist to provide better therapeutic program, better correction in our subjects, in a hospital or clinics. So physical condition is affected by wrong position and other factors that may change lifestyle, especially of those group of people with physical disability. And paying attention to a spine area and its important function causes better physical condition and also protects vital organs such as the heart and lungs. And previous studies have reported relationship between scoliosis and difficulty in quality of life, such as involvement of the respiratory structure, pressure ulcers in school hall, and CP children at severe level based on GMFCS showed much more problems and deviation that should be noted. And that's why we tried to make and solve the problem with designing of a modified feedback to alert them of the position, especially for the line time sitting on the chair. And the best way to prevent musculoskeletal disorders in children with severe cerebral palsy can be the sitting correction system, such as adaptive chairs. And main purpose of this adaptive chair system are preventing the development of deviation and increase performance and independency. And therefore, present study was conducted to design and evaluate the control feedback system to improve the sitting pattern in children with cerebral palsy aged 7 to 12 years old. And for conclusion, I want to say that use of such a system in children with CP and similarly to other type of our patients is important and had undeniable role in preventing structural problems and improving the sitting pattern and consequently improving their performance and quality of life, which I think the ergonomics 2 days can't help our world to make better condition, better quality of life for the human being. So finally, I want to thanks for your kind attention.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Ali. I request audience, if they have any question, they can post in chat box, and Professor Ali will try to reply those queries if there are any. I'm seriously thankful to you, Professor Ali.
It's okay. It was
for
my pleasure.
accepting our invitation, and it is my pleasure that you are with us for physical meet. It would have been very nice if you could have joined us.
Of course, same.
So thank you so
Thanks
much
a lot.
for being with us. And I also request now all the participants, their session track 1 and track 2 will start parallelly. Those who are in track 1 to stay back in the same session. And I also request Professor Dhara, the keynote, the session chair, to stay in the same track. I request Professor Kutubuddin to join track 2. And the participant, those who are presenting their paper in track 2, should join track 2. Will continue with the session immediately without wasting any more time. So Ali sir, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
wish that we'll see you in India sometime later. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks a lot.
You are most welcome, sir.
Thank you.